One Piece. Story was made by Eiichiro Oda. Chapter 4, Marine Captain Axe Hand Morgan. The bustling town of Shelltown stood in awe as the events unfolded before their disbelieving eyes. Luffy, his fiery spirit uncontainable, had unleashed a furious blow upon the face of Helmeppo, the captain's son. The shocked townsfolk whispered in hushed voices, their expressions a mixture of fear and admiration. This is bad! Who is he?" exclaimed one bewildered onlooker. "He dared to hit the captain's son! Captain Morgan won't forgive him!" Attempting to restrain the enraged Luffy, Koby struggled to maintain a grip on his friend. "Luffy, calm yourself down, they are Marines!" he pleaded desperately. Disregarding Koby's plea, Luffy discarded his signature straw hat, his eyes burning with fury. "I don't care! A bastard is still a bastard!" he spat, his words dripping with contempt. Meanwhile, Helmeppo, blood staining his cheeks, trembled in both pain and disbelief. You dare to hit me? My dad hasn't even hit me once!" he stammered, his voice laden with indignation. Two Marine soldiers rushed to his aid, attempting to lift him from the ground. "I'm Marine Captain Morgan's son! I'll tell him about this!" Helmeppo bellowed aggressively, his threat hanging in the air. The terrified townsfolk recoiled in fear upon hearing the captain's son's menacing words. Challenging Helmeppo's boast, Luffy's voice echoed with defiance. "Why don't you fight me yourself?" Concern etched on his face. Koby interjected with worry, "Luffy, don't do this." As Helmeppo was hoisted up by the two Marine soldiers, he sneered at Luffy in defiance. "You'll regret hitting me, you'll get a death sentence for it, and my dad will be the one who executes you, bastard!" With that, the trio retreated hastily, seeking refuge within the safety of the Marine fortress at the heart of Shelltown. Seizing the moment, Luffy retrieved his beloved straw hat from the floor. Turning to Koby, he spoke with unwavering resolve. "It's meaningless to hit people like him." Observing the fleeing trio, Koby muttered with a mix of disappointment and relief. He ran away. Moved by Luffy's display of strength and protectiveness, Rika approached him, her eyes filled with awe. "Older brother, you were so cool. Just then I was scared to death," she exclaimed, her voice trembling slightly. Luffy, caught off guard by the unexpected praise, replied with a modest smile. "Really? I should have hit him a couple more times." Suddenly, Rika's mother's stern voice pierced through the air, calling her daughter back with urgency. "Don't talk to strangers! You'll be executed too if you were mistaken as one of their friends!" Defiantly, Rika countered her mother's warning, her faith in Luffy unyielding. "Mom, he's a good person, and so is Zoro." Luffy watched this interaction unfold, his gaze shifting between the mother and daughter, recognizing the conflict between their perspectives. "Don't be silly," the mother continued with worry. "Did you sneak into the execution site again?" Rika, undeterred, held her ground, and they both retreated into the safety of their home. As Luffy prepared to part ways with his new acquaintances, he waved a goodbye to Rika, his expression warm and friendly. Unbeknownst to Koby, Luffy strode ahead with purpose, leaving his companion to exclaim with a touch of panic, "Looks like we're going to be in a lot of trouble. If the captain gets mad, he might send Marines after us." Nonchalantly, Luffy dismissed Koby's concerns, responding with unwavering confidence. "We'll deal with it when the time comes. I'm going to go talk to Zoro." Meanwhile, in the main building of the fortified Marine base, a mysterious, strong blonde figure sat down, his chiseled features accentuated by the curling tendrils of smoke rising from the cigarette clutched between his fingers. With a sense of self-assuredness, he gazed out the window of his dimly lit room, surveying the bustling activity within the base. "I am great," he declares to himself, his voice a low, gravelly rumble that betrayed both authority and a touch of arrogance. A young Marine soldier, crisp in his uniform, entered the room and snapped to attention. Saluting his captain, he affirmed the powerful figure. "Yes, because you are the captain, Captain Morgan." Captain Morgan, his eyes fixed on the horizon, allowed a hint of dissatisfaction to creep into his voice. "But lately the offerings seem to be decreasing?" The soldier, his brows furrowing in thought, evaluated the captain's statement carefully. "That, about the money for the offering. The citizens have their financial problems, too. Captain Morgan's eyes narrowed, and he turned to face the soldier, his piercing gaze cutting through the air like a blade. "It's not a matter of financial problems," he declared with conviction. "It's because they don't respect me." Before the soldier could respond, the door burst open with a resounding thud. Startled, both the captain and the soldier turned their attention to the intruder. "Dad!" a voice rang out, filled with a mix of desperation and anguish. Helmeppo, Captain Morgan's son, stumbled into the room, a handkerchief pressed against his bruised face. His eyes pleaded for solace, for an end to the torment he had endured. Captain Morgan, sighing heavily, regarded his son with a mixture of concern and weariness. "What's the matter, Helmeppo?" Wiping away the evidence of his pain, Helmeppo's voice trembled with pent-up rage as he made his demand. "I want you to kill someone for me!" The sun hung high in the sky, casting its golden rays upon the barren landscape that stretched out before Luffy. As Luffy approached the execution site for the second time, a sight caught his eye. A massive post standing tall, with Zoro still bound tightly to it. The swordsman's disheveled appearance and furrowed brows spoke volumes about his frustration. "It's you again? I told you I don't want to be a pirate?" Zoro's voice carried a mix of irritation and desperation as he addressed Luffy, hoping his words would finally penetrate the young captain's stubborn resolve. Luffy paid no heed to Zoro's protestations, his unwavering confidence shining through. "I'm Luffy. If I loosen up the ropes, then you're gonna join me, okay?" His voice rang out, filled with conviction as he met Zoro's gaze head-on. Zoro's eyes narrowed, his determination unwavering. "I've told you clearly!" he exclaimed, his teeth clenched tightly together. "I have things that I need to do. Besides, I'm not going to be a bad guy like a pirate." Luffy's expression remained unyielding as he countered, his assurance unshaken. "Why do you care? Everyone already thinks you are a bad guy," he stated matter-of-factly, challenging Zoro to reconsider his stance. A deadly focus emanated from Zoro as he locked eyes with Luffy, his voice cutting through the air. "I don't care what they say about me. I haven't done one thing that I regretted in the past, and it will be the same for the future. I won't become a pirate." A brief silence hung in the air, broken only by the sound of their breaths. Luffy's gaze remained fixed upon Zoro, contemplating his next move. Then, in a sudden and decisive motion, he turned his head away, breaking their eye contact. "I don't care, you are going to join me," Luffy declared, determination resonating in his words as he reaffirmed his unwavering resolve. "Don't decide for yourself," Zoro shouted in frustration and defiance. Undeterred, Luffy turned back around to face Zoro, a mischievous glint in his eyes. "Hey, I heard that you use a katana, is that right?" he asked, curiosity lacing his words. Zoro pondered for a moment, weighing his response carefully. "If I'm not being tied up, I could use a katana," he reluctantly admitted, the hint of longing in his voice revealing his deep connection to his treasured weapon. A spark of excitement ignited within Luffy as he delved further into the conversation. "Where is your katana now?" he inquired, eager to understand the circumstances surrounding its absence. A hint of sorrow tinged Zoro's voice as he replied, "That bastard took it. It's something that I treasure most, other than my life." Luffy's eyes widened with intrigue. "Oh? Treasure, huh? It must be something great," he mused. Determination flickered across his features once again. "Okay, I'm gonna go to where the bastard kid is, and get your katana back." Zoro's confusion was palpable as he struggled to comprehend Luffy's motivations. "But if you want me to return it to you, you'll have to join me." Luffy chuckled, his proposition veiled beneath a playful demeanor. "That's dirty!" Zoro's shout reverberated through the air. He attempted to interject, but Luffy was already bounding away, his footsteps echoing as he sprinted towards the main building of the Marine base. Left alone at the execution site, Zoro muttered to himself, his voice laced with disbelief. Is he planning on sneaking into the base? What a fool. On the rooftop of the imposing Marines building, Morgan, a towering figure with a chiseled physique, barks out commands to his soldiers. "Okay, stop! Lift the statue!" Ropes are attached to a stone statue of Morgan, now being hoisted with collective effort. The statue, a tribute to his own greatness, slowly ascends. Among the soldiers stands Helmeppo, a bruise adorning his eye, still seeking his father's intervention in a personal vendetta. "Dad, that kid hit me! Why won't you help me take revenge? Even you haven't hit me before," he implores, desperation lacing his voice. Captain Morgan, puffing on his cigar, exhales a cloud of smoke and retorts, his voice steeped in authority. "Do you know why I never hit you?" A pause hangs in the air as tension builds. Helmeppo's voice trembles as he musters a response, his plea filled with longing. "Yes, because I'm your—" Interrupting his son's words, Morgan scoffs at the notion. "Yes, because you are—" and then delivers a resounding blow to Helmeppo's face with a thunderous clash from his left hand. The punch reverberates through the rooftop, emphasizing his disdain. "A bastard son that's not worth hitting!" Captain Morgan cuts an imposing figure, his tall stature enhanced by a tanned complexion and blonde hair. His face bears the marks of strength and determination, with a prominent steel jaw etched with the word Mo, meaning seagull, adorned with a marine logo. His right hand has been replaced by a massive steel axe, its handle bolted through the bones of his forearm, jutting out in place of his elbow. Maintaining an air of calm, Morgan questions the essence of their relationship. "Why do I have to clean up your mess? You can do a lot of things in my name, but I only punish those who oppose me." With a cigar clenched firmly between his teeth, Axe-Hand Morgan tilts his head towards his tear-stricken son. "Don't misunderstand. You are not the great one here. It's your father. Me," he proclaims with an air of self-assuredness. With purposeful strides, Morgan begins to walk away, his voice trailing behind him. "Rumor says a little mouse sneaked into the execution site. Is it true?" Helmeppo hesitates, grappling with his response before finally admitting, "Oh, you mean that little girl? I've already—" His father's deadly stare halts his words in their tracks. Captain Morgan's gaze bores into Helmeppo's soul as he questions, "You killed her, right?" With a trembling voice, Helmeppo replies, still clinging to a shred of humanity, "No, she's still a little girl. She didn't even realize her mistake." Captain Morgan's cold gaze shifts, directing his attention towards one of the Marine officers named Rokaku. He calls out, his voice laced with authority, "Hey you, go into town and kill her." Shocked, they questioned their command. He continues, "I don't care how old she is, whoever opposes me will die." The lieutenant's face stammers as he tries to find a response. But Captain, she's just a little girl. I couldn't do that to her." Morgan's tone brooks no dissent as he asserts his dominance. "Couldn't do it, huh? You are a Marine captain, right? And the rank of lieutenant junior grade is lower than the rank of captain, isn't it?" The lieutenant reluctantly concedes, his voice filled with resignation. "Yes, sir." In a display of unwavering power, Captain Morgan proclaims with a threatening aura, "In that case, you have no right to go against my order. If I order you to go, then you will go." Defiance sparks in the Marine's eyes as he musters the courage to respond, "I can't!" The captain's steel axe hand strikes swiftly, slashing through the air, severing the lieutenant's back. A cry of, "You traitor!" echoes through the rooftop, piercing the hearts of Helmeppo and the Marines. They shrink back in fear, their loyalty shaken by the ferocity of their captain. "You didn't have to do that!" his son comments, while the other soldiers cry out for their captain who is lying on the floor. Captain Morgan, blood dripping from his axe hand, smirks as he delivers a chilling reminder. "Never mind. For the sake of reminding the citizens, I'll go there myself." With each step he takes, the weight of his rank and authority reverberates through the air. The captain's words cut through the silence, laden with conviction. "With this arm, I rose to the rank of captain. Rank is the most important thing in the world. I am the highest-ranking officer in this base, which means I'm the greatest one here." Gazing fiercely at his men, Captain Morgan demands their agreement. "Great men don't make mistakes. Do you all agree?" Without hesitation, the Marine soldiers salute, their voices ringing out in unison, confirming the unquestionable truth. "Yes, sir! You are absolutely correct, Captain!" Emboldened by their support, Captain Morgan directs the soldiers to pull the heavy stone statue, symbolizing his power, to its rightful place. His voice booms across the rooftop, filled with authority. "Look! This is a symbol of my power, a statue that has been finished today after years of work. Now stand up, my great statue, at the highest point of this base." On ground level, the bustling marine base loomed with its two towering blue buildings. Luffy stood perplexed before them, scratching his head in bewilderment. "That's strange," he muttered, his gaze sweeping the area. "There aren't any Marines around." His hand instinctively found its way to his beloved straw hat, which he stroked absent-mindedly. "Are they having a meeting or something? Never mind the katana, I can't even find that idiot's son like this." Amidst the curious silence, a distant chant reverberated through the air. "Pull! Pull!" The repetitive shouts echoed as the Marines engaged in pulling the giant stone statue of Captain Morgan. Seaman recruit Ukari, caught up in the fervor, accidentally knocked a portion of the statue against the building's roof. The sound caught the attention of Captain Axe-Hand Morgan, who swiftly turned to face the young Marine. "Hey, hold on a second! Just now you damaged my statue!" he bellowed, his voice laced with anger. Ukari stammered in worry, his face etched with fear. Sorry, Captain, I was being careless," he apologized, his voice trembling. The sound of commotion overhead caught his attention, and he looked up, noticing movement on the roof. "There seems to be people up there," he observed, his tone tinged with surprise. Luffy, his curiosity piqued, pulled his arm back and declared, "Let's go up and see." With a burst of energy, he stretched his right hand to the edge of the roof with incredible force. Gripping it tightly, he shouted in exhilaration, "Gomu Gomu, no! Rocket!" And in a daring leap, he propelled himself forward, his feet leaving the ground as he shot towards the roof with lightning speed like a giant slingshot. Captain Morgan's face contorted with rage. "Do you know how long I've been looking forward to the completion of this statue? And you went ahead and damaged it," he seethed, his voice filled with fierce ferocity. The Marine, desperate to rectify his mistake, pleaded, "I'm sorry! I'll go fix it right away!" With his axe held menacingly, Captain Morgan's eyes blazed with fury as he delivered a chilling ultimatum. "This statue represents me. Damaging it means that you don't respect me. You got it?" Just as the Marine was about to face the consequences of his actions, Luffy soared through the air, his panicked voice ringing out. "Oh no! I'm going too fast!" he exclaimed, realizing the perilous speed at which he was hurtling towards the Marines. The soldiers, astonished by the sudden appearance of this mysterious flying figure, exclaimed in disbelief. "What is that? Something flew up from down there?" "Stopped at last." Luffy sighed as he grabbed hold of the ropes the Marines were pulling. The force caused the soldiers to lose their balance, pulling them off the tiled floor. The heavy stone statue teetered dangerously before succumbing to gravity and crashing against the railing of the roof. The Marines watched in horror as their prized statue shattered, its remains scattered on the ground below. Unfazed by the destruction he had caused, Luffy observed the broken pieces and offered a sincere apology, putting his hand up. "Sorry," he said, his voice filled with genuine remorse. Captain Morgan's fury reached its peak. "Capture him! I'm gonna kill him!" he roared, his desire for vengeance consuming him. The Marine soldiers swiftly confirmed their orders, and Helmeppo, seizing the opportunity, pointed at Luffy. "Dad, it's him! He's the one who hit me! I told you he's no good!" Luffy, holding on to Helmeppo, whisked him away, his voice resolute. "I've been looking for you," he compelled, determined to resolve the situation. Helmeppo, struggling to free himself, cried out for help. "Let me go! Dad, help! Help me!" Together, Luffy made his escape through the roof door. The Marines, undeterred by the chaos, shouted in unison, They headed into the main building! After them!" Their voices echoed through the corridors as they set off in hot pursuit. Meanwhile, amidst the turmoil, one of the Marines spotted something alarming below. "Captain, someone's at the execution site!" he called out, his voice laced with urgency. Morgan, his paranoia and aggression heightened, barked his orders with unwavering ferocity. "What? Another traitor? Have them all killed!" At the execution site, Kobe stood before the bound figure of Zoro. Concern etched across his face, he relayed the startling information he had just received. "What? Luffy is inside the base? He's too hot-headed." Kobe's voice trailed off, his worry palpable. Zoro, his eyes fixed on Kobe, confirmed the news with a solemn nod. "Yeah, you're right. Anyway, who is he?" he replied. "If you help me, they are going to kill you," Kobe remarked as he quickly tried to untie him. "You shouldn't be arrested. I can't stand those kinds of Marines," he exclaimed, refusing to heed Zoro's warning. "I'm going to become a real Marine, just like the way Luffy is determined to become the Pirate King." Zoro, taken aback by Luffy's lofty ambition, couldn't help but react with surprise. "What? Pirate King? You're joking, right?" he questioned incredulously. Kobe laughed off Zoro's skepticism, continuing with unwavering conviction. "I was a bit shocked when I first heard him, but he's serious." His words hung in the air, resonating with a sense of unyielding determination. Suddenly, without warning, a shot rang out, piercing the air. Kobe's body crumpled to the ground, his eyes wide with shock and disbelief. Captain Morgan, gazing down from above, watched as Kobe's lifeless form fell to the floor, his face an eerie mask of cold indifference. The sight of Kobe's demise ignited a fierce rage within Zoro. His gaze turned threateningly towards the roof of the Marine base, his resolve hardened. Something had to be done. Inside the Marine building, the clamor of soldiers grew louder as Luffy and Helmeppo raced through the hallways. Ignoring the Marines' futile commands to stop, Luffy held Helmeppo firmly, his voice urgent. "Where's Zoro's katana?" he demanded, determined to retrieve it. Helmeppo, caught off guard, stumbled for a moment before succumbing to Luffy's persistence. I'll tell, just stop dragging me," he pleaded, hoping to end the ordeal. The tension mounted as Luffy and Helmeppo pressed on, their footsteps echoing through the corridors. The chase was on, and the fate of both friends and enemies intertwined in this perilous dance within the heart of the Marine base.